we want to bring in right now ABC News immigration reporter Armando Garcia, live outside court. Armando, I know this is all just coming down and you were just in there. What can you tell us more about this decision?
Look, this is a very, very stunning move that's going to have repercussions for sure for all of the other international students who have been targeted by the Trump administration over their actions and demonstrations that they've been participating in under at campuses all across the country. I'm just looking at my notes here because, as you mentioned, I'm just running out of court right now, but it's really, really important because Judge Jamie Comins has found that Mahmoud Khalil is removable under the Secretary of State Marco Rubio's assertion that his continued presence and his actions in the United States actually compromise foreign policy and political priorities. That's very stunning because that is actually the only thing that she ruled on today. She did not rule on the other allegations that were raised by DHS that he allegedly misrepresented information on his green card application. They said in court that they need not go further than Secretary of State's Marco Rubio's assertion, and she seemed to agree.
And Armando, before we get to, as you say, what sort of effect this could have moving forward, because there are other people being detained, on the same grounds. I'm wondering, what is Khalil's family saying about this? Have you heard anything from his family?
Have not heard from his family, but we did hear from him right at the end of the court as the hearing was adjourned. He turned to look at his supporters, and he also addressed the judge himself, saying, quote, I would like to quote what you said last time, that there's nothing that's more important to this court than due process, rights, and fundamental fairness. Clearly, what we witnessed today is neither of these principles were present today or in the whole process. This is exactly why the Trump administration has sent me to this court thousands of miles away from my family. I just hope that the urgency that you deem fit for me are afforded to the hundreds of others who have been here for months. Now, look, this is a really important caveat here because, as we know, there is another case, the federal case that's playing out in a New Jersey court. That right now, basically, the ball is in their court. We don't expect any sudden movement here. In fact, the judge here today gave his immigration legal team about 2 weeks, a little less than 2 weeks, to file any motion for additional relief, to decide whether or not they want to appeal that decision. So that's still going to process and that's still going to play out. But now, really, eyes are on that New Jersey court and see what they rule as far as relief.
And Armando, this is a first of its kind here anyway, and there is a precedent that could be set here because other universities have reported other students being detained in a similar fashion. So I'm wondering, we're going to hear from Khalil's attorneys. We're waiting for that news conference. I know you'll be covering that for us. But in the meantime, I'm wondering what kind of effect this has. Do you think, now that the Trump administration has this legal victory on these grounds, keeping in mind Khalil is a green card holder and a legal permanent U.S. resident, will they try to do this to other people that they deem are, not okay to be in this country on those grounds?
Sure, and look, it's very clear that the Trump administration wanted to make an example out of him. This was the very first high-profile case of an international student being targeted by the Trump administration over his alleged actions during demonstrations. Now, it's really important here because his legal team did push back on a lot of those claims. There was a lot of information that was filed actually just 2 minutes before the hearing happened. You got to remember, the legal team representing Mahmoud Khalil only had about 48 hours, a little less than 48 hours, to review all of the evidence that was being presented against their client and then form a proper rebuttal. Throughout the entire hearing, they said that they wanted a continuance. The judge actually denied that request. Now, we spoke about the other students, the other cases that we've been covering. Absolutely, this can definitely have ramifications there because if this judge is finding that the only thing that they had to do is have this memo, this 2-page brief written by Secretary Rubio asserting that their presence affects foreign policy or their political priorities somehow, well, then that can also be applied to other students now.
Yeah, Armando, I know we're waiting for Khalil's attorneys to speak. I also know what it's like to run out of court and report like you did today, so thank you for getting us the latest information. Yeah, no, I know how that is. Thank you very much for getting us the latest information, and we'll get back to you in just a little bit.